After 3 heartbreaking years, a billionaire's incredible decision to help a little girl will change everything. The rain fell heavy on Maplewood that gray afternoon, drumming against the roof of Jenna's small home like a restless child. Inside, the warmth of the kitchen was a stark contrast to the chill outside. One might say that the air was heavy with sorrow and unfulfilled dreams. Jenna, a single mother for 3 long years, forced a smile as she prepared lunch for her 8-year-old daughter, Lily, who sat quietly at the table, her fragile frame a reminder of the burdens they carried. Jenna's heart tightened every time she looked at Lily, who faced a rare illness. Those deep, ocean blue eyes, rimmed with darkness from sleepless nights and doctor's appointments, held a strength that made Jenna's spirit swell. Every day, Jenna woke before dawn, her weary body fueled by a fierce love, the kind of love that could move mountains. The thought of Lily and her struggles kept her going. Working 3 jobs, doing everything from waiting tables to cleaning offices, she poured herself into her work. Yet no matter how hard she tried, the weight of her reality pressed down harder each passing day. In a town where laughter had once echoed through the sun-soaked streets, silence now hung thick, and storefronts stood empty, children's laughter replaced by whispers of what once was. But every Friday night, the community gathered like moths to a flame, the high school gym alive with the sounds of bingo. It was a comforting ritual where stories were shared and smiles radiated, a patchwork of resilience stitching the townsfolk together. Frayed edges softened in the glow of twinkling fairy lights, and in those moments, Jenna drew on their strength, grateful for the camaraderie that bolstered her sagging heart. Then the extraordinary began to unfold. On a fateful rainy afternoon, Tom Hawthorne, a billionaire and Maplewood native, returned to his hometown. He hadn't set foot here in years, blissfully wrapped in his world of wealth. But fate had other plans. He stumbled upon Jenna and Lily's remarkable journey, their story whispered between reports of decay and lost hope. The weight of guilt for those he left behind crashed over him like waves. As word spread about Lily's illness, the townspeople were drawn into a heated dialogue about the ethics of wealth. Murmurs formed clouds of judgment, opinions split down lines deeper than the asphalt cracks on Main Street. Jenna worried, would accepting help cast her in a new light, or would it deepen the already jagged rifts in their community? Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. Under the light of a full moon, Jenna stretched her fingers through the cool night air, contemplating their uncharted future. Tom wrestled with his own ghosts, choosing between the meandering path of isolation or the light of connection. People were watching. The whispers of discontent grew louder, echoing through her heart. The stakes were higher than ever. If Tom could offer a new children's clinic, it could mean healing not just for Lily, but a new lease on life for the town, the promise of tomorrow. Yet, would they accept it? Would they welcome a monument of guilt as a savior? As shadows danced in the moonlight, Jenna realized it was a moment of reckoning. Decisions lie ahead, and they would force her to confront her deepest desires. Hope fought against despair, clashing like thunder in her chest. Could embracing Tom's offer truly heal their wounds, or would it lead to a fracture within their community? The air thickened with promise and doubt, and in that stillness, Jenna felt it, the ache of choice, the weight of tomorrow pressing against her soul. Change was coming, but at what cost? Jenna's sleepless night lingered as shadows of uncertainty creeped into the corners of her mind. The chirping of crickets outside filled the silence, a rhythmic reminder that life continued on, even as she stood frozen in the turmoil of her thoughts. She had seen her daughter, Lily, draw strength from the fragility of her condition, and it tore her apart knowing the weight of their dilemma rested squarely on her shoulders. Morning arrived cold and stark, as if the sun hesitated to shine down on their troubled lives. Jenna's heart raced as she went through the usual motions of waking Lily for school. The little girl's laughter had once filled the house like music, but now it echoed faintly, muffled by the heaviness of their situation. Lily's lips curled into a half-smile as she met her mother's gaze, and that flicker of joy was a bright light in Jenna's ever-darkening world. "Do you think we'll see Mr. Hawthorne again soon?" Lily asked, her voice trembling with innocent curiosity. "Maybe," Jenna replied, pouring cereal into a bowl. A part of her deeply wanted to shield her daughter from the complexity of their decision, to keep her safe from the judgment that loomed larger than the clouds outside. At the school drop-off, the familiar sights of friends and neighbors greeted Jenna, each face a reminder of the unfolding narrative that entwined them all. Yet today, whispers hung thicker in the air, echoing doubts and expectations as they watched her with scrutinizing eyes. Jenna could hear snippets of conversations, the words billionaire and savior piercing through her shield. "Did you hear he might open a clinic?" one neighbor murmured to another. "What's that guy trying to prove?" another voice chimed. Each cutting remark felt like a dagger, making her question if the townsfolk would truly welcome Tom's help or simply perceive it as a show of arrogance. As she drove home, her hands clenched the steering wheel, her knuckles white with tension. She pictured Tom how he'd abandoned this town for a life of luxury, while she remained to fight her battle in the trenches. Would he really seek to make amends? Or was this merely a means to ease his own guilt? The phone rang as she pulled into the driveway. It was an unknown number. Taking a deep breath, she answered, knowing it could change everything. "Is this Jenna Miller?" "Yes. Mrs. Miller, this is Karen from the Maplewood Community Foundation. We've heard about your situation, and I wanted to discuss a potential partnership with Mr. Hawthorne. We believe he can genuinely make a difference." Jenna's pulse quickened. Voices collided in her head, the townsfolk's whispers, her love for Lily, her worries about the community. Could she really trust him? The foundation could mean hope for Lily, but at what cost trusting a man who left everything behind? After hanging up, Jenna sat frozen in her driveway, the weight of the world crashing down upon her again. Suddenly, she saw Lily through the window, drawing in her sketchbook. The innocent depiction of a butterfly fluttered on the page, representing hope. Could she really say yes to Tom? What if that decision could heal their lives but shatter the fragile peace among the community? As doubt and hope wrestled within her, Jenna felt the door of possibility swing wide open. Would she step through it, embracing the unknown, or would she close it again, remaining in the shadow of fear? The choice loomed large, life as they knew it or a leap into the uncertain. And just outside her door, a familiar silver vehicle pulled up, leaving her breathless. Tom once again stood like a ghost from her past, eyes filled with unspoken promises. What did he want this time? Jenna's heart raced at the sight of Tom, standing there like a figure from an old dream. The sunlight caught his hair, giving him an almost ethereal glow. Yet all she could see were the choices he once made, choices that left scars on their hometown. The air crackled with tension, a fragile bridge between past pain and present hope. "Jenna," he began, his voice low and tentative, as if testing the waters. "Can we talk?" For a moment, she stood frozen, thoughts swirling in a storm of emotions. Memories of laughter turned to whispers of betrayal. He had chosen a life of wealth and luxury, while she had chosen the relentless grind to protect their daughter. "Talk about what, Tom?" she managed to say, arms crossed defensively. The perfect distance between them felt like a fortress. "The clinic? Your desire to help? Or just reliving the past?" His expression softened, a mingling of regret and determination. "I know I left, but I want to come back. I've changed." "Changed?" The incredulity slipped from her lips. "You think you can just step back into my life and make everything right? You don't know anything about Lily's struggles. You left when it mattered most." The hurt was raw, bubbling to the surface. Jenna's face turned steely as she pictured Lily, fragile and full of dreams, and imagined Tom's return altering the very fabric of their lives. Would this man, who had wandered away from responsibility, dare to play savior now? I made mistakes, Tom admitted, running a hand through his hair, a gesture that felt achingly familiar. I was running away from my own fears, and I regretted it every day. I want to help Lily. I want to change things. She shook her head, tears pooling in her eyes. You don't even know how sick she is. You think just throwing money at it will fix everything? It's not just about money, he replied, stepping closer, desperation filling the space between them. You saw the foundation's work. We can do so much together if you'd let me help you and Lily. The warmth of his presence unnerved her, battling against her instinct to push him away. Help? Or control? Jenna felt a spark of anger flare up. You can't come back and wield your power like it means something. Maybe it doesn't mean what it used to. But I want to try, Tom said with a plea in his eyes. I know you don't trust me, and I don't blame you. But what if I could really make a difference? Moments stretched taut between them, laden with unspoken words and the weight of history. As she looked into his eyes, she sensed the glimmer of sincerity, a flicker that rekindled her hope. If Tom really could make a difference for Lily, could she risk her cautious heart for the chance of healing? Do I even want to find out? She murmured, grappling with the storm brewing inside her. The stakes were high, too high, and every fiber of her being screamed to protect her daughter from harm. Then, like a sliver of sunlight breaking through the clouds, she caught a glimpse of Lily in the window, her small body absorbed in every stroke of the pencil, pouring her heart into art. That pure, unfiltered hope clawed at Jenna's heart. Let's talk, Jenna finally said, her voice steadier than she felt. But know this, if you hurt her again, I won't let you get away with it. Tom nodded, understanding the gravity of her words as they stepped into an uncertain future. And somewhere within her, a seed of possibility began to sprout. Could this man, standing beside her with a fractured past, become a part of their healing story? But as they walked toward the door, an unexpected sound echoed in the silence, a child's laughter drifting in from the backyard, masking the tension in the air. It was Lily, oblivious to the heavy conversation unfolding just beyond the kitchen door. Jenna paused, an inkling of dread settling in her gut as she heard Lily call out, "Mom. Come see." Something in that voice shifted everything. What could possibly await them on the other side of that door? Jenna's breath caught in her throat as she exchanged a quick glance with Tom. The vibrant ring of Lily's laughter pulled at the corners of her heart, a mix of warmth and trepidation. She felt like she was being drawn into an unknown current, and she had to make a choice. "Let's go," she finally said, turning toward the sound of her daughter's joy. The moment they stepped outside, the sun washed over them, a stark contrast to the storm brewing inside Jenna. Lily sat cross-legged on the grass, surrounded by color-splattered sheets of paper. With each stroke of her crayon, she unleashed a world of imagination. Whimsical creatures and bright landscapes danced across the pages. She looked up, eyes sparkling with delight. "Mom! Tom! Look what I made!" she shouted, her voice a crystal bell in the summer air. "Those are amazing, honey," Jenna said, forcing a smile. She knelt beside Lily, feeling her daughter's joy radiate through her. There was innocence here, a light that illuminated the dark corners of her doubts. Tom crouched down too, his posture less formal than she expected. He seemed genuinely captivated by Lily. "Wow, these are incredible, Lily. You're so talented." There was a sincerity in his tone, and for the first time, Jenna saw a fragment of the man she once loved. Lily beamed at the praise, proudly pointing to her drawing of a fairy tale castle. "This is where we're going to live one day. And look, there are flowers everywhere." At that moment, forgetfulness washed over Jenna. She was drawn into Lily's world, where everything was possible. For a breath, she let the walls she had built begin to crumble. But just as fast as the occluded sunlight returned, a knot tightened in her chest. Reality bombarded her thoughts. "Lily, can we talk about something important?" Is it about the flowers? She asked innocently, her eyes filled with hope. Jenna hesitated, glancing at Tom. This was tricky territory. Kind of, but it's more about Tom. Lily's gaze shifted to Tom. She studied him curiously, tilting her head. Is he going to help us? I heard you talking before. Tom swallowed hard, his expression softening. I hope to, little one. If your mom and you allow me. No, Jenna interjected, her voice sharp before she could hold it back. We need to be careful, Lily. Seeing her mother's stern look, Lily nodded but looked crestfallen. Okay. The spark in her eyes dimmed, and Jenna's heart twisted painfully. Lily, it's just but before Jenna could finish, Lily stood up, her small hands clenched into fists. I don't need anyone else. I just want things to be normal. Her voice cracked, and just like that, Jenna felt the ground shift beneath them. Tom's eyes widened, and he glanced at Jenna, understanding the urgency of the moment. Lily, I know it's a lot to take in. But I want to help you both. Whatever normal is for you, I want to be a part of it. Then why did you go? Lily shot back, her voice steady, the youthful disappointment cutting deep. You were never here. Jenna felt dread threading through her. The storm inside her returned, electric and chaotic. Would Tom's honesty turn into something that hurt them again? Lily, please. She took a step closer, her hands reaching for her daughter. A heavy silence filled the space, a battle of desire for understanding and the fear of betrayal. Tom crouched to Lily's level once more, his gaze unwavering. I wish I could change the past, but I'm here now. And I promise not to leave again. The intensity of his words set something off within Jenna. She couldn't ignore how sincere he seemed. But was that enough? Could they navigate the uncertainty of a future where trust had to be rebuilt? Mom? Lily whispered, her small voice laced with uncertainty. The questions loomed, heavy and unyielding. As Jenna stared into Lily's questioning eyes, she realized the stakes were not just about her and Tom. They were about the future she wanted for her daughter. Please, Lily, just give him a chance, Jenna implored, her heart racing. But just as she found herself on the precipice of decision, a loud crash echoed from the backyard. The sound of something falling crumbled the fragile moment. Jenna's heart plummeted as she turned, dread coursing through her. What was happening now? What awaited them around the corner? Jenna's heart raced as she rushed toward the backyard, dread pooling in her stomach like a heavy stone. The vibrant energy of the day was quickly sucked away, leaving an eerie silence in its wake. She could hear Tom's footsteps following closely behind her, his concern palpable. What was that? He asked, his voice tight with urgency. I don't know, Jenna replied, anxiousness taking over. She pushed through the gate that led from their small garden into the expansive backyard, anxiety blooming with every step. When they stepped outside, Jenna's eyes widened. The old wooden swing set, dilapidated and worn, lay in a twisted heap on the ground. Pieces of wood splintered apart, making it look as if it had exploded. In the center of the wreckage, Lily stood frozen, shock written across her tiny features. Lily! Jenna gasped, rushing to her daughter's side. It fell, Mom, Lily said, her voice trembling. Tears formed in her eyes, but she brushed them away, trying to remain composed. I wanted to swing higher, like a rocket. I thought it could go up. Jenna knelt down, cupping Lily's face in her hands. Oh, sweetie, you scared me. Are you hurt? Lily shook her head, her brows knitted together as she stared at the remnants of her favorite plaything. Seeing the swing set, a symbol of carefree childhood, destroyed, made something inside Jenna ache. It was just wood, but it represented so much play, laughter, and moments spent together. This isn't just about the swing, is it? Tom's calm question cut through the tension. He crouched beside them, his expression softening as he took in the scene. Lily looked at Tom, her voice dropping to a whisper, It felt like it could take me away from everything that's been hard. Jenna's heart clenched. She understood that longing. The world could feel unbearable at times, and sometimes you just wanted to escape. I get it, baby, she said gently, her thumb brushing against Lily's cheek. But sometimes, even the strongest dreams need a little support. Tom shifted closer. Lily, building something new is hard work, but I'll be here to help you. We can build it back, even better than before. Lily looked between her mother and Tom, her small shoulders trembling. For the first time, Jenna witnessed a flicker of hope in her daughter's eyes. Do you really mean it? I promise, Tom said, sincerity radiating from him. Let us create something you can swing on, something even stronger. Jenna's heart both warmed and ached at his words. Could this be a turning point? A chance for them to rebuild not just the swing set, but the trust and connection they so desperately needed? But her heart battled with fear. Was it too soon to believe? Together? Lily asked, searching their faces. Together, Jenna affirmed, her voice unsteady yet determined. She grasped Tom's hand for strength, feeling the heat from his palm seep into her. But just as the air lightened, the sound of footsteps caught her attention. A neighbor peeked through the fence, concern etched on his face. Is everything all right over here? Jenna felt a rush of embarrassment at being exposed, but she could sense the warmth from Tom's presence beside her. The question lingered in the air, the pressure of others watching, weighing in. Could she embrace this moment, or would doubts take root and fester? As Jenna took a deep breath, questions sparked in her mind like fireflies at dusk. Was she ready to rebuild their lives, to trust Tom again? And as they stood there, the remnants of broken dreams at their feet, she wondered what steps they would take next. Was hope strong enough to mend their fractured family? In that moment of uncertainty, Jenna felt a shift. What if a new beginning was already waiting for them? The moment hung thick in the air. Jenna's heartbeat thudded in time with the unsteady breaths of her family. Tom's hand tightened around hers, a silent vow that he meant every word he said about rebuilding. Maybe we could try to use some of the old wood, Lily suggested, her eyes peering hopefully at the wreckage, as if it held the secrets to their new dream. Or I could paint it in colors like the rainbow. Jenna couldn't help but smile, a flicker of brightness piercing through her apprehension. I love that idea. It could be our special project. Tom nodded enthusiastically. Those colors would make it shine. A brand new swing set that can lift you higher, just like you imagined. A small giggle escaped Lily's lips, a sound Jenna hadn't expected to hear just moments before. It felt like a lifeline, pulling Jenna back from the depths of her worry. Can we get ice cream after we build it? Lily asked, her gaze darting between her mother and Tom, her cheeks flushed with excitement. Tom chuckled, the sound warm and inviting. Ice cream sounds perfect. It'll be our reward for working hard together. A soft breeze blew past, rustling the leaves of the nearby trees, carrying away some of the heaviness that had settled around them. Jenna felt herself relax just a bit more. Perhaps in this, there was a way forward. But just before she could lean fully into the moment, her neighbor cleared his throat again. You'll need to be careful with that wood. It might be unsafe. Jenna's face flushed with both frustration and self-consciousness. Thank you, but we can handle it, she replied, trying to keep her tone light. She didn't want to feel judged right now, not when she was working to find some glimmer of peace. Tom, sensing Jenna's vulnerability, stepped slightly in front of her, arms crossed over his chest. Yeah, we appreciate your concern, but we want to do this together. As a family. The words lingered uncomfortably, leaving Jenna torn. They hadn't been a family for so long, yet here they stood, attempting to piece together not just a swing set but their very lives. With the sun starting to dip lower in the sky, the shadows from the broken swing set crept longer. Jenna caught Lily's determined expression, solid like the wood they were about to repurpose. I want to help, too, Lily declared, her voice firm as she stepped into the dim light. Jenna's heart swelled, admiration washing over her. She knelt beside Lily once more. You know what? Jenna said softly, that's the spirit. You will be our model builder. Just as the mood began to shift, a pang of doubt flickered in Jenna's mind. Was this hope real? How many times had they tried to connect, only to be pulled apart by their struggles? But right now, she felt the small, glowing ember of something different, a chance for healing. As Tom and Lily shared excited ideas about design and colors, Jenna let herself smile, if only for a moment. Still, her mind buzzed with the implications of this new venture. Tomorrow, let us start drawing some plans, Tom suggested, eyes glinting with excitement. That sounds great, Jenna replied, her voice betraying a mix of hope and caution. The day had already taken an unexpected turn, and she couldn't shake the feeling that it was only the beginning. But little did she know, that very night would bring a knock on the door, an unexpected visitor who would change everything. What could this surprise mean for their fragile attempts at rebuilding? The knock echoed through their home, a hollow sound that felt almost foreign in the warmth that had just begun to settle. Jenna's heart skipped a beat, the cozy atmosphere prickled by a sudden tension. Tom turned toward the door, his brow furrowing slightly. Should I get it? Jenna asked, her voice half a whisper. The thought of an interruption sent a wave of unease through her. They had just begun to piece together a moment of light, and now this? Yeah, let me check, Tom replied, his resolve steady. He crossed the room, the wooden floor creaking under his weight. She watched him, heart thrumming, wishing she could dive into his confidence. As he opened the door, a figure stood silhouetted against the fading light, a man dressed in a tailored suit, the fabric glinting under the porch lamp. There was an intensity in his eyes that seemed out of place. Good evening, the man said, his voice smooth yet commanding. I'm looking for Jenna. Surprise flickered through her, and she stepped closer, her stomach twisting in knots. That's me, how can I help you? The man shifted slightly, his gaze penetrating. I'm James Foster. I represent several charitable organizations. I heard about your family's situation, and I believe I may be able to assist you. Jenna's mind raced. Charitable organizations? What did he mean? She exchanged a glance with Tom, who stood beside her, his expression a mixture of curiosity and wariness. Assist us how? Jenna asked, a frown creasing her forehead. We're rebuilding, the man interrupted gently. I know. After the fire, it's been tough. But I've seen so many families like yours overcome adversity. He paused, letting the weight of his words sink in. I want to help provide what you need to rebuild your life and, more importantly, your home. Jenna felt a mix of hope and skepticism pulling at her heart. What would they want in return? And what does that involve? I want to provide funds, materials, anything you need to get started on that swing set and your home. We can bring in skilled labor to make sure everything is safe. It's not just a swing set, after all, is it? His eyes twinkled with a genuine understanding that made Jenna's heart flutter with an emotion that felt too foreign yet too familiar. Tom spoke softly, why are you doing this? James smiled, but it didn't quite reach his eyes. I had a little sister once. She loved to swing. I learned the importance of family and dreams very young. I don't want anyone's dreams to fade away. Jenna could almost hear the doubt in the silence that followed the man's words. Was this just too good to be true? Lily appeared, poking her head around Jenna's leg. Who's that, Mommy? She asked, her innocent eyes wide with curiosity. James crouched down to meet Lily's gaze. I'm here to help make sure you can swing higher than ever before. I like swings, she declared, then turned to her mother. Can we, Mommy? Jenna's heart swelled with longing and determination. Could they really accept this? But the question of trust hovered ominously over them. Before she could respond, Tom turned to her, concern flickering in his eyes. What do you think, Jenna? He asked softly. The warmth of Lily's small hand in her own was a grounding force. Jenna felt pulled between caution and a glimmer of hope. Just when she thought she might be ready to respond, her thoughts were interrupted by a rush of nerves that coursed through her. Could this be the answer they'd been searching for, or simply another chapter of disappointment waiting to unfold? As the door swung open wider, Jenna faced the looming decision that could change everything for her family. But before she could speak, the sound of sirens began to wail just down the street, slicing through the calm evening air. What could this mean for the unexpected moment unfolding before them? The sirens screamed through the night, their wailing adding a layer of urgency to the already charged atmosphere. Jenna's breath quickened. The warmth around them suddenly felt colder. She glanced out the window, but all she could see were shadows creeping in the growing darkness. "Mommy, what's that noise?" Lily's small voice trembled, uncertainty creeping into her innocent question. Jenna knelt beside her daughter. "It's okay, sweetie," she said, trying to sound more calm than she felt. "Sometimes, they just have to check on things." But the truth gnawed at her. The fire still haunted them, its memories lurking behind every corner. She turned back to Tom and James, sensing the tide of their conversation turning with the siren's approach. "Do you think someone is in trouble?" Tom asked, his worry evident. He rubbed the back of his neck, a gesture Jenna had come to recognize as a sign of his own unease. "Or maybe it's an emergency that needs help," James responded, his demeanor steady. But Jenna couldn't help but notice the hint of impatience in his eyes. Perhaps the emergency could disrupt this strange yet promising offer. "Maybe we should," Tom began, but James interjected. "Let us focus on this," he said, his voice more insistent. "You need help right now, and the sirens will eventually fade. I understand your hesitation, but I'm here to give you hope." Jenna felt torn. They had spent years dreaming of a proper home, a tangible future when things wouldn't be so precarious. But how could she believe in a kindness that came wrapped in a pretty suit and perfumed intentions? "Just let it sink in," James said, observing her closely. "I know this is overwhelming, but your heart knows what you need." She glanced at Tom, searching for his reassurance. He nodded slightly, but his eyes showed the weight of their shared responsibilities. "Look," James began but was cut off by a commotion outside. Voices raised, followed by a sharp shout, ropes of tension weaving through the air around them. "Maybe we should see what's happening?" Tom suggested, his voice an anchor in the storm of her thoughts. But just as he reached for the door, another figure came rushing down the street, a neighbor they had gotten to know since the fire, a woman named Carla. Breathless, she dashed up their steps, her face streaked with concern. "There's been an accident," she blurted out, her hands trembling. "A car overturned down the block, they need help." Jenna's heart sank. The sirens were nothing compared to the anxiety that now filled the room. They had just begun to entertain dreams of new beginnings, and now reality had crashed in like a bolt of chaos. "Maybe the kids," Jenna started before James interrupted again. "I'll handle getting emergency services over to the scene," he said, stepping out with purpose. "You can focus on your family." As he disappeared into the night, Jenna felt a wave of gratitude mixed with confusion. Trust felt fragile, everything about this moment seemed to slip through her fingers like sand. "Mommy, I'm scared," Lily whimpered, pressing her little body against Jenna's legs. Jenna wrapped her arms around her daughter, sensing the weight of the night clinging to them. "It's okay, sweetheart. We're right here together." Tom continued to peer out, wanting to understand but also protect. In that lingering silence filled with uncertainty, Jenna realized they had a choice to make, not just about this man at their door, but about everything they had endured. In an uncertain world, could they accept help and still protect their hearts? As adrenaline began to pulse through her veins, she knew they were standing on the brink of turning points, a decision that could dismantle what little security they had or build something new amidst the chaos. But before she could gather her thoughts, the wail of sirens faded into the night, replaced by distant echoes of shouts and flickering lights. Jenna's heart raced as she wondered, would they be able to rebuild despite the shadows of uncertainty looming above? She took a deep breath, clutching Lily closer. What awaited them in this tangled web of fate? Jenna's heart sank deeper as she felt the weight of the decision pressing against her chest. She glanced around the cramped living room, cluttered and worn from too many nights spent waiting for something good to happen. Each object told a story, the frayed couch, remnants of family dinners, and the mismatched toys strewn across the floor. "Mommy, I don't want anything to happen," Lily whispered, her voice fragile and small, echoing Jenna's own fears. She held her daughter tighter, feeling the warmth of her little body against the chill wrapping around them. "Nothing is going to happen to us," Jenna said, her voice steadier than she felt. "We're safe. I promise." Tom moved closer to the window, peering out into the night again. Jenna could see his jaw tense, the way his fingers curled around the frame. "Carla seemed really upset," he said, his worry creeping back. "What if someone gets hurt?" "I know," Jenna replied, her mind racing. "But we can't do anything right now. We need to think about Lily. Maybe we should go out, see if anyone needs help." Before he could finish, a loud crash sounded outside, jolting them all. Jenna clutched Lily, who gasped softly against her shoulder. The shadows outside became more frantic, flashes of lights darting past the window like shooting stars, each one a painful reminder of their own endless struggle. "Let me check," Tom said, determination in his eyes, but Jenna felt her own resolve wavering. "What if it's dangerous? You don't know what's going on." But the itch of curiosity clawed at Jenna. They had lived so long in a world of chaos and fear that the notion of turning away from this moment felt impossible. Everything was connected: the accident, James, the sirens. "Are we going to just sit here?" Tom asked, his frustration bubbling up. "We can't just ignore it." She opened her mouth to protest but found no words. What could she say? Their lives had been defined by waiting, by watching other people live from the sidelines. Lily's small fingers tugged on her arm, pulling Jenna back to the present. "Mommy, I want to help too," she said, her big eyes filled with determination. "Maybe we can help them. Just like the firemen helped us." Jenna felt a rush of emotions at Lily's words, something like pride mingled with the aching fear that always lingered. She knelt down to meet her daughter's gaze. "You're so brave, my love. But right now, we have to be careful." "Mom." "Help them," Tom insisted, shifting impatiently. "If it were us out there, wouldn't we want someone to come?" Those words, layered with urgency and truth, struck Jenna hard. Maybe they had a choice not just for themselves, but for Lily. Her mind flickered to James's promise of hope, wrapped in unexpected kindness. Was there strength in vulnerability? Could they step outside the walls they'd built? Before she could fully process her thoughts, she felt a rush of adrenaline. "Okay," she said firmly, standing tall. "Let us help. Let us see what we can do." The moment she decided, it was like a dam burst. Jenna rushed to grab her jacket, motioning for Tom. "We can do this together." Tom's eyes softened as he nodded, aligning himself with her decision. "Stay close to us, okay, Lily?" he said, kneeling down. "I will," Lily chirped, her spirit ignited. As they stepped out into the chaotic night, the sirens lost their despairing wail in the distance, replaced by voices and fervor unraveling before them. Jenna's pulse quickened, anticipation and uncertainty swirling within her. Jason's earlier words drifted back. There was an unexpected opportunity for rebuilding something new in this very moment. But as they rushed toward the scene, Jenna couldn't shake the shadow of hesitation lingering behind her. What lay ahead would define them once more. What if that chance for hope was only going to lead them further into the darkness? The night wrapped around them like a cloak, pulsing with urgency. Jenna gripped Lily's hand tightly, their little trio pressing through the crowd gathering outside their home. The chaos was alive, flickering lights, panicked voices, and a barrage of sirens blending together like a chaotic symphony. A neighbor rushed past them, an elderly woman whom Jenna barely recognized, her face etched with worry. "They need help," she shouted, pointing towards the end of the street where shadows danced under the flashing lights. Jenna's heart raced, every instinct screaming to protect Lily, to shield her from the harshness of reality. "Stay close," she said, protective instincts surging as they navigated through the thrumming crowd. Tom's steady presence felt like an anchor at her side. "Whatever happens, we stick together. We can't turn our backs on this," he urged, determination lacing his voice. Jenna nodded, the truth resonating deep within her. They had spent too long waiting for help to come, it was time to be part of the solution. As they approached, Jenna caught glimpses of twisted metal and murmurs of concern weaving through the crowd. Her pulse raced. What if someone had been hurt? What if they needed help, just like they had after the fire? "Mom, look!" Lily's little voice squeaked, pointing ahead with wide eyes. They watched as first responders bustled around a crumpled vehicle, their movements efficient yet frantic. In that moment, a pang of fear and hope intertwined in Jenna's chest. Could they really make any difference? Tom squeezed her hand. "We have to see if they need more help." His eyes met hers with a fierce determination. For a split second, they were united in purpose. "Okay, but stay close," she replied, pulling Lily nearer as they walked toward the scene, their surroundings buzzing with adrenaline and fear. "Are you hurt?" Tom called to a figure leaning against a tree, pale and trembling. The young man shook his head, eyes darting with panic. "Just shocked." Jenna felt the swell of empathy for the man, lost and scared. "Help is on the way," she assured, hoping her voice carried some comfort. The night pressed on, filled with cries and sirens, yet a sense of teamwork sparked around them. Neighbors filtered in, some bringing water, others tending to those in need. With each shared effort, Jenna felt the heavy weight of isolation lift just a little. "Mommy, I want to help," Lily chimed, her small frame standing firm. Jenna coaxed her, kneeled beside a woman, cradling a child, stunned yet unharmed. "Would you like to help me give them some water?" she asked, her heart full seeing Lily's resolve. Lily nodded, her eyes filled with purpose as they collected water bottles from a nearby table. Together, they approached the pair, and Jenna watched in awe as Lily's innocent kindness broke through fear. "Here," Lily offered, her little hand extending the water, entrusting the act of kindness. Jenna felt a swell of pride. "You're amazing, Lily," she whispered, admiration coursing through her. This moment ignited a spark she thought had long dimmed. In the chaos, even a simple act of kindness could instigate change. Suddenly, footsteps approached, and Jenna turned to see Tom holding something, a makeshift safety kit he'd found, filled with band-aids and gauzes from another neighbor just moments before. "I thought we could help where we can," he said, determination sparking in his eyes. Together, they handed supplies to the emergency teams, and Jenna felt a shift in her being. Maybe trusting others like Tom, like James, wasn't as scary as she had thought. Maybe they really could rebuild together, with their community rallying around them. The night wore on, and as the immediate chaos began to dissipate, Jenna felt a glimmer of hope creeping in. The exhausted firefighters thanked her, and for the first time in ages, she felt she was not just a passenger in her own life. Finally, with the excitement waning, they headed back home, knees weary but hearts lighter. Jenna turned to Tom, who stood at her side, looking relieved yet thoughtful. "This was good," he said softly. She nodded, warmth blooming within her. "Maybe our community can rise together after all." A thoughtful silence settled as they entered their home, but Jenna didn't miss the warmth of Tom's hand intertwined with hers, a sign of their unfolding path. As Lily yawned, rubbing her eyes, Jenna guided her toward her room. With a soft kiss on her forehead, she whispered, "You did so well tonight, sweetie." Lily smiled, those ocean blue eyes opening like sunlit skies. "We helped." "Yes, we did," Jenna replied, surprisingly proud. As she left the room, she glanced at Tom standing in the doorway, his shadow cast across the hall like a protective guardian. "You're a part of this now," Jenna said, feeling a swell of unity. Tom took a step closer, and for a moment, all that stood between them felt ephemeral, shimmering with possibility. "We can do this together." And at that moment, while darkness still lingered outside, they stepped into the light. Hands entwined, hearts expanded, and hope surged like a fresh dawn breaking through the night, miraculously radiant, a testament to the power of connection. This was their moment. Each step forward would gather momentum, change their world forever. Jenna could feel it. They were not just rebuilding a swing set, they were reconstructing the very framework of their lives, stronger, brighter, and more profound than ever before. But as she locked the door behind them, she sensed the echoes of uncertainty still lingering in the corners. Would tomorrow bring new challenges? Regardless, Jenna's heart knew one truth: they would face them together, the power of hope, forging a path toward a brighter future. And outside, the stars twinkled boldly, whispering promises of new beginnings and heartfelt transformations. They were ready. Now, more than ever, was the time for all of you. This is your moment, too. Don't wait not even one more second to support us. Subscribe immediately to the channel so you don't miss our next exclusive stories. Leave a like now to feed the algorithm and ensure these powerful tales keep spreading hope. Comment your reactions and feelings about this emotional ending. Your voice matters. And don't forget to share instantly this video with at least 5 friends who are in need of a transformation. You need to show your support, and only true fans understand how essential your actions are to keep our community thriving.